Hi friends, today I'm talking about the rucksack I'm carrying on my shoulder right now. It's the Pattern 83 Grootsak used by the South African Defense Force, where Grootsak means big bag in Afrikaans, and Pattern 83 clearly refers to the years it was adopted. During the 80s, South Africa was involved in several conflicts against communist-backed armed movements, operating in Angola, Zimbabwe, Botswana, Mozambique. And for these conflicts, it was under international arms embargo, but make impossible for it purchase military weapons and gear. So South Africa started designing and producing its weapons systems and gear by itself. The Pattern 83 load carry system is the result of this national effort. It is composed by a combat vest designed for short range and short duration patrol, and by a backpack designed to be used together with a dedicated chest ring. This backpack was designed for long range and long duration patrol, where the logistic support was not available, and the soldiers have to carry with them all the gear they need for their task. For its time, this backpack was remarkably advanced. It was realized with 1000 dinar cordura nylon, using plastic Fastex buckles and nylon straps. It worth remembering, but in the same time, British troops were fighting in the Falklands using the Pattern 58 webbing kit made in canvas, and the US Army was transitioning from the canvas Alice carry system to the nylon version. In the same time, in Italy, we were still using the webbing kit used by the British Army during the Second World War, together with a canvas backpack introduced in the early 50s. The complete system is composed by two components: an H steel frame and the bag itself. The bag comes with its own shoulder straps and waist belt. In fact, it was possible to use it in this configuration, and a lot of soldiers preferred carrying it in this way, avoiding to carry the heavy steel frame. The H steel frame used the same shoulder straps, but we can find on the backpack, and the same waist belt with Fastec buckles, easy to adjust, which help to carry heavy load, dividing the effort between shoulders and waist. The back support is realized with a set of straps and mesh panel stretched between the two sides of the frame. It's interesting, but the mesh panel above and below, behind the waist belt, are stretched only with a cord, but we can tie using our preferred tension knot. If we want to attach the frame to the backpack, we have to put the shoulder strap aside and insert this horn in this large fabric loop. Then on the side, on both sides, we have a strap. We put it in the space, in a space along the frame, and we close it. And the last task is to use the waist belt of the backpack and close it under these straps. It's not easy because the straps are well tensioned. To set up the straps in the right way, I suggest to look for good quality pictures on the web, where you can see and find suggest about the way to set up them. The backpack has a capacity of approximately 70 liters, 77 including the 4 side pouches. As mentioned before, it is realized in 1000 Cordura nylon in nutria brown color, but became the standard color for the South Africa Army Defense Force gear. It seems, but it was available also a version in green, but remain pretty difficult to find on the market. The bag consists of one main body divided in 2 compartments, the upper compartment and the lower compartment, with a zip that is running around the body, allowing to access to the lower compartment. On the front we can find a very strong handle here and two straps that allow to carry, like in this case, a mat, a low rocket lancer, or any kind of equipment we need to put in this position. The upper compartment is closed with a drawstring without a collar. Both of my pack arrived without any kind of slider, and maybe it was a standard for this kind of backpack. A big flap but integrate a very deep pouch, close the bag with two long strings and with two wings to cover completely the upper opening. Inside the bag, against our back, the divider panel has two holes that allow us to insert long gear as a long saw, a long silky, or maybe the poles of our tent. On both sides there are two pouches capable of holding the South Africa Defence Force standard water bottle with a capacity of about 2 liters, allowing to the soldier to carry about 8 liters of water. We have to think that this bag was developed for a very harsh and dry environment where it's not easy to find water. The back is composed by several padded tubes that provide a good comfort. The back rests directly against our skin, our back, so the airflow is very limited and it's not comparable with the modern trekking backpack. On the shoulder straps we have also the chest strap, and in the upper part there's two very sturdy straps, but I think allow us to set up in a better way the backpack on our shoulders when we are walking during the march. I purchased my first Grootsak from the Finnish retailer Varusteleka. It was without frame, but it was in excellent condition, as a lot of gear that I purchased from Varusteleka, a good reseller. After a few months I decided to purchase a complete system, frame and backpack, directly from an online store in South Africa. If you plan to do that, be prepared to have heavy shipping cost and custom fees. The frame arrived heavily rusted, so I had to sand it and repaint it. But the paint I used was not military grade, and when the frame touch on the ground, the painting chip off very easily. The soldier that used it removed, cutted away the padded on the waist belt of the backpack, and also removed the divider between the lower and upper compartment. Using it, I think to understand why he did, but because when the backpack is fully packed, it's pretty difficult to reach the gear in the lower compartment. Opening the zipper, it's not easy to extract something but stay in the lower compartment. But using it for civilian activities, trekking, something like this, having the divider allow us to put our gear only in the upper compartment, keeping the weight up on our back, and using it also when we have to bring with us only limited equipment. The complete system weighs about 3.5 kilograms, whilst the backpack alone weighs about 1.8 kilograms. And we can consider it as a predecessor of the lightweight backpack, because with its capacity of about 77 liter, 1.8 kilograms, I think it's a good weight. As I mentioned before, I used it for some racking session with about 25 kilograms, and I didn't experience shoulder pain or discomfort. In my opinion, also with the heavy frame, we can consider it a nice option for an heavy duty outdoors activity, because it works very well on our shoulders, on our back. The frame doesn't touch against our body, doesn't create discomfort. The system of mesh panel and straps but realize the support for our back works fine. Obviously, this backpack hasn't the features we can find in modern hiking and trekking backpacks. There is not space for an hydration bladder. There is not a hole for the tube of the bladder. We have not molly and pulse attached for to add other pouches. There is not any kind of a loop for our trekking pole, for our satellite communicator. It's a simple, sturdy backpack, but we can use with satisfaction for heavy duty outdoors activities. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a comment. It's the only way I have to know that my video is interesting and useful for you. Cheers!